Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I am watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning. Joining me this week is my old friend and resident Trekkie, Nate. Join us now as we discuss the next 3 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Half a Life, The Host, and The Mind's Eye. Now, make it so.
So, should we talk about some Star Trek?
Let's talk about some Star
All
Trek.
right. All right. This week we are nearing the end of season 4. I can't believe it.
Isn't that
Uh
crazy?
I know, it's wild. So this week I wrote up my own little intros for these stories, and the first one being, well, I failed to save my planet and everyone is doomed. Guess I better go kill myself. In episode 22, Half a Life.
I mean, to be fair, it's not, I guess I better go kill myself.
They're
It's
not
someone
entirely.
else saying, well, you didn't finish it, and that was your last chance, so now go kill yourself.
Although I think the way that culture was, had he finished it, would have been like, thanks, now go kill yourself.
I mean, in any scenario, it was now go kill yourself, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
Um,
what a wild culture.
yeah. Yeah, this was an interesting episode. Like it was very intriguing. And how do you deal with radically different cultures that in a way value different things
Yeah,
or value value the same things but in different ways?
yeah.
Because you can't look at it and say they don't value life, because they do. And yeah, it was just it was interesting. There's a lot about this one that I just don't know. Like, I don't know exactly what I think about a lot of things with this
Yep.
one. And I thought they handled it well. And I think that's kind of the point. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable here
A hundred
because,
percent.
in a way, he's following his culture, he's following his religion essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and doing the things that it's it's not like he's being forced into it necessarily. Even if Lwaxana is making a compelling argument to say, like, no, you don't have to do this.
Right.
But yeah, it's still just it's a bit unsettling. It's a sad episode,
Yep.
but also at the same time, he's looking at it like, well, don't be sad. I've lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have accomplished what I wanted to, but that's just not, it wasn't in the cards, and somebody else will be able to pick it up. And they just have this understanding and agreement of what they will or won't do. And who is anyone else to impose something different on them? But at the same time, you can still think like, but it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
So it's such a an odd episode like that. I did give it a 7. Not so much that I thought it was a good episode, but I thought it was better than okay, and one that I would call, it was a fine episode. Really solid performances. Um, really a character-driven episode. Some tension, some stuff building up on it.
Keep going. I'm
Oh,
listening.
yeah. Uh, but they made some interesting points throughout it, though. Like, where at the end, when Deanna is saying rituals, good and bad, provide structure to society. It's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of true. And without structure, you don't have a society. So, I mean, there are all sorts of arbitrary rules that we live by. And you could even look at, I mean, they're talking what, 60 years old in that episode,
Hmm.
but you've got standard retirement age, where essentially you're saying, I am removing myself because I am X years old. I know it's less of a thing now, but at 62 or 65, people would remove themselves from being productive members of society
Mhm.
when they could easily contribute for much longer, but they're
Right.
just like,
Especially
nope,
now.
I'm done. And now, granted, some of that gets pushed later because of economic reasons and whatever, but still, there is some semi-arbitrary point where we just say, yep, I no longer contribute to society. Now they take it further to say I will not be a burden on this society since I no longer contribute.
Yep.
But and there's that dichotomy of he could have still contributed. He could have saved everything with a little more time. And the, who is Picard to say trigger a war for that when he was just kind of like I'm kind of on board.
Yeah.
So,
I also gave it a 7. I think I feel a lot of the same ways that you do about it, which is, the story itself is interesting, but it was more the discussion, right?
mhm,
So I think
exactly.
there's a ton of different topics that are addressed, and I think addressed fairly well in a, 45-ish minute episode,
Yeah.
which is differences in culture and
Hmm.
how, different cultures approach things like aging. I think there is an interesting argument around um, voluntary euthanasia,
Hmm.
right? And you could argue voluntary or not. I mean, you're still you're following culture, which says that when I get to this age, I do this thing.
Hmm.
And that whole argument has, gone around and around in circles, for decades, if not hundreds of years of like,
Right.
what are the ethical considerations of, physician assisted suicide or, things along those lines, right?
Hmm.
And then I think there's an interesting conversation to be had around when uh, when does someone no longer be a contributing member to society, and what does that mean, right? And certainly even among the human population there are many different approaches across the millennia of,
Hmm.
how that's been approached, from you know nursing homes to your parents move in with you, and multi-generational living and this, that, and the other thing. And you know that's just different ways of handling that. And I think it's all really interesting exploration that I agree is meant to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable,
Hmm.
kind of regardless of the outcome, because
Yeah.
even when he was deciding, or theoretically had decided, was asking for asylum to stay on the Enterprise and not go through with this, that was uncomfortable,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Only to end up, changing his mind and going through with it anyway. Um, I mean, I did
Well,
kind of feel like the ending was a little unsatisfying in that regard. Like, it was kind of like, I'm gonna stay. Oh wait, no, I'm not. End of the episode.
yeah.
And that felt
Well,
a little rushed, but beyond that,
yeah. Well, and I mean they did, like you said, they did really address a lot of it. And just I didn't even realize just before the line from Troy that I liked about ritual providing structure in society, good and bad alike. Lwaxana had said, then look what I've done to him. He's like a man who's lost his faith. I never considered how deeply ingrained this resolution liturgy is.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it was an unsettling episode by design. I think they executed it really well. Uh, I give it a 7, not because I really particularly liked the episode. It's not one that I would go out of my way to visit again because
sure.
it's not a pleasant episode, even though there are good moments in it. Um,
Yep.
but it's good, and it brings up, excuse me, it brings up like a lot of big big topics, big discussion points. And if I recall, I mean, early 90s, I mean, I guess it's kind of been ongoing for 30 years that I can remember, but I mean, early 90s, euthanasia was a major topic of conversation.
Is
I
this
mean,
not the Kevorkian era?
everybody knew Jack Kevorkian's
Yep.
name. So it it's yeah, it's crazy. You like to see that Lwaxana goes and joins him
Yeah.
to go down and be with him in that, and not necessarily partake herself, but to be there and show him that support, and showing that she's supporting even if she doesn't agree with his choice.
Yep.
So yeah, it was really just an intriguing episode like that. Um, but
I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, even in like recent news, there was a pair of twins who I'd heard of them before. They were famous entertainers. They were both like, I think like 89, from Germany. And this week, I wish I could remember what their names were. I could probably Google it real quick. But this week, they committed suicide together.
mhm.
They just decided that was the end of the run. I don't know that necessarily know that they had like major health problems or anything. I didn't read that much
Yeah,
into it, but it was interesting that that's the thing that was, in the news headlines
yeah,
as
right around the time we watched this.
yeah, we're discussing this episode. It's a very similar thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I think there's an interesting. I understand a lot of the different sides around things like physician assisted suicide and things like that. Like I see a lot of the different perspectives and I
Hmm.
understand why people are very much in favor of that option. I understand why people are very much not in favor of that option
Hmm.
and kind of, a lot of the nuance there. It's an interesting discussion, right?
Hmm.
Um, Certainly not anything that should be taken lightly, but this did
Right.
a really good job of kind of exploring one fictional culture's approach to it.
Yeah. Yeah. One, yeah. And I mean, we've all, I'm sure, heard stories of people who have gone through with that,
Sure.
in our culture, that often ends up being from somebody who's dealing with terminal illness
Yeah.
or like excruciating pain, and it's every single time you hear those stories, it's to me it always feels tragic, but tragic on all fronts, because it's just like it's tragic that that's where they were and that's what they decided to do, but what else
Yeah. What was the other
were they
option?
living and anything like that? And it's yeah, it's crazy just to see. And it's everything is so nuanced.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's simple about it, even if it is a black and white decision of yes or no, but still there's a lot of nuance in the discussion.
Yep.
And then it also comes down to, well, who am I to dictate to somebody else what they can or can't do in that regard? And then the fear, then I think where a lot of people probably come in and say absolutely not, never okay, is because then you've got the fear of coercion and all that other stuff that in a
Totally.
way in a way is what's happening here, because it's not like he was terminal. He was a
Yeah.
didn't appear to be like a beacon of health, but didn't appear to be somebody who was terminally ill, other than
Right.
in the sense that we're all terminal.
I mean, and I think Lwaxana kind of made the point of like you can have 10, 15 years, maybe even longer,
Yeah. You
of
could even
good
have 10 to
health and
15 more good years
yeah. Um,
before it turns way sideways.
right. And so trying to convince him in that regard and I think that that is the nuance, like the at what point. is it like, you know what? This is the best option.
Yeah.
And I think coercion is a thing that needs to be taken into account. And like,
Hmm.
yeah, there's so much nuance. You can't, the decision is black and white. The reasoning to get to the decision is very nuanced. And that's
Yep.
okay. It should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. The one of the last kind of thoughts I had on this one throughout it was how how we how we would change the way we live, not if we knew our days were numbered, because we all know our days are numbered.
But if
If
you
we
had,
know the if you know the number of your days,
yeah,
how does that change how you live?
yep,
Like, how does it change how I live if I know I've got less than 20 years
uh-huh,
till I'm 60? That might change what I do on a daily basis, or at least on more days than it doesn't,
yep,
because you know that's that way. So in that society, what they don't really explore, other than everybody there seemed on board with it, though it did seem wild that they were going to be willing to go to war with the Federation over somebody not wanting to follow a tradition
yeah.
or a
Let's kill more
ritual.
people because one person won't die.
Right. That's a little psychotic. It's incredibly psychotic, but but like how much more full are some of their lives than the lives that say a lot of people we even know live,
Yep.
just because it's almost like life. It's so easy to fall into a rut where life is just living you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even mean that
Just
it's
Monday to it.
necessarily bad, but where you look back at a year or a month or a few years and you're just like, where the hell did that time go?
Right.
Where am I better than I was back then? What have I done? It's amazing how easy it is to fall into that. And I wonder if that's as easy to fall into if you know, well, okay, I just blew one of my remaining 4,986 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
There's another very tongue-in-cheek way to look at this too. Like I'm gonna take this to its absolute most wild logical extreme, which is if I know that, I have less than 20 years left, what do I stop caring about when it comes to, like, for instance, my own health,
mhm.
right? Because I'm reasonably certain that if the target I'm trying to hit is 60, I can eat whatever I want, I can drink whatever I want, I can do whatever I want for the next 20-ish years, and have a
But
reasonably good quality of life.
but the
A
flip side of that is what can you have a better quality of life by
Depends
better decisions in those regards.
depends
As
on what
I
my
say that,
priorities
I
are, right?
say that as I am coming off of a marathon ruck event on Saturday, after which I spent 3 days sick in bed.
Yeah,
Uh, Undetermined if it was because of or the ruck event or just coincidental or some combination of unfortunate timing and just utter and complete exhaustion.
right.
But it is kind of funny that it, I would imagine I would rather be capable of doing something like that, but that also did eat up 3 of my days because I was so utterly miserable. I was in bed by 5 o'clock and shivering under the electric blanket because I had a fever and chills and everything hurt.
Yeah.
Good from a workout, but bad from body aches simultaneously, which
Yeah, that's
if
a
you can
fun
avoid that,
combination.
avoid that if at all possible.
But
But
I think to your point there, that is kind of a, like, I look at it as, and again, like I said, I'm taking this to an extreme
oh yeah,
logical end of, living life to its fullest while I'm here. That is a thing that you are interested in. That is a thing that you wanted to do, a
that's
challenge
true.
that you wanted to take on. And so you were willing to, in this fictional scenario, to use the finite number of days that you had left to train for and participate and complete in a
That
monumental
event, yeah.
task. Whereas a lot of people, like, I, I want to eat a bunch of really good food and
Yeah.
not give a shit about how many calories I'm taking in. Because what the fuck does it matter? I'm not trying to live until I'm 80 or 90 or whatever.
Then then, then you got to
Right?
wonder, what was that society? Was it a bunch of people loafing
Right?
around being deadbeats saying like, "Hey, I'm going to be dead when I'm 60." And then you got the one badass who's just like, "I'm trying to save the fucking
Yeah.
planet." And they're just like, "Yeah, go take your
Or
shot,
or
dude. You're
or
you're out."
or
I,
how
I
do
mean,
you rally a society that can so easily fall back on things like just
yeah.
gluttony and
Yeah.
carefree living? Because what difference does it make? Is
Right.
it, and of course we don't get to see that,
No.
but that's what that's what I start to think of and again, intentionally bringing it as far to the extreme as
Oh
possible.
yeah. And I would
But
think,
if my whole goal, like if the things I do to take care of myself are so I'm on this planet as long as humanly possible, and then you're telling me that there's a defined finite date where I will no longer be on this planet, and it's not even by today's standards all that old,
mhm,
fuck it. Like,
yeah.
let's go.
And then, yeah, like I said, it's like, how much easier is it to say, like, all right, we can off those 60-year-olds?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you
But
got chicken or egg at that point. But
who needs Social Security?
yeah,
Who needs retirement accounts?
you
Who
don't
needs
have you
pensions?
don't have that
You know,
social, not to say it in this negative of terms, but you don't have that social burden.
yeah,
And that's using burden just as an objective term, not a commentary on
right.
anything.
But
It's
but you're also basically bringing all that monetary value back in
right,
because you
because
think
it's
about
not,
how much you gets taken out of your paycheck for Social
yeah, it's
Security.
not being withheld.
Yep.
So
Plus,
yeah.
how much you're contributing to retirement accounts and things like that because you're setting
Hmm.
yourself up to, retire at 65 or whenever and still be able to live until you're 80, 90, 100, which is not outside the realm of possibility. And,
Yep.
you have to be able to support that. Like,
So what I'm hearing here is Nate saying I'm gonna live it up for 18 years and then fuck it.
out. Nice knowing y'all.
Oh.
I'm gonna pour another drink. Not be doing that,
Yeah.
but
So I don't know. Uh, so early on, um, I wasn't the biggest fan of Lwaxana.
mhm.
I thought her first episode, I thought she was so over the top. And I wonder if part of that, and I don't remember what I said at the time, was that she was a much more seasoned actress who came from a time where it was a lot more, say, more akin to stage acting than what we might see in television acting today. So she felt almost like she was brought out of the original series and into next gen when she first was in an episode.
Yeah.
And it was so over the top. I found it almost overbearing or difficult by my recollection. Um, I kind of like her episodes now. She's still just this over the top character, but she's just kind of awesome when she's there. Now,
I
I'm
really
glad she's
liked
not
her.
in every episode because I think that would be too much, but when she makes the most of every episode she's got, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, and again, similarly, I don't know if that's because of her acting style or if she was trying to be that over the top. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it has mellowed a little bit without losing the comedy behind it,
Yep.
which I think it's great comedic relief, but also the juxtaposition of her approach versus that of the rest of the crew, right? And that kind of starkness of realities
Hmm.
is very interesting. And I don't know how many times I've said juxtaposition so far in this episode, but it feels like a lot.
Yeah. I don't know either.
It's just, I don't
Uh
know why. Like, I said it that last time. I was like, I feel like I've said that a lot. And maybe I should pick a
I
different.
I felt that early when we were recording, not necessarily today, but it's something I'm particularly aware of was how many times I said interesting.
Yeah.
Uh so I try to keep that one down a little bit, but sometimes
We
it's
need
just the
to
right
put
word.
a thesaurus on each of our desks so we can
Yep.
flip through and go, all right, what's a different word other than juxtaposition? Contrast. Um, I don't know. The other
Now we
thing
can
that made me laugh,
contrast the way you use juxtaposition.
yeah. Um, the other thing that made me laugh is that there's this discussion between Picard and Lwaxana about Timothy and everything that's going on and how much she wants him to intervene. And his line is, "The Prime Directive forbids us to interfere with the social order of any planet." And my thought was, yeah, it does. And according to Admiral Sati from the episode right before this one, you violated it 9 times. So, what's one more? We may as well round it out. Um, I just thought that was very funny. So,
Yeah. I will say, I will find a count of how many times we've said juxtaposition, and now I know I've said it at least twice. And this episode title will be Juxtapose This.
yes, that's fair. Well, now I'm just going to work it into every single thing.
Of
Um,
course,
yeah.
as you should. I am a little concerned though that in all of our discussion of this episode, which I do feel is coming to an end, we have both ignored the best line of the entire episode.
Oh,
It
please
happened quite
enlighten me.
early,
Oh,
and
yeah, yes. Please tell. There's a few I can think of, but go for it.
okay, let's see if we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I want to see if you've
Oh,
got what I'm
you mean
thinking.
her calling
Yeah.
Worf Mr. Woof?
There it
Like,
is.
yeah,
I more so his response. Please, madam, that is a torpedo launch initiator.
yeah.
And it is Worf, madam, not Woof.
The other one that was around the time that same time was, "These two call me Mrs. Troy. You can call me Lwaxana." Another great line.
Yeah.
The one question I had for you is, did you recognize his daughter, Timosin's daughter?
I feel like I did. And I watched this one a couple weeks ago now. I feel like I recognized her and I looked her up, but I don't recall offhand.
So
Yes, I did recognize. I'm looking at a picture on IMDb right now. I
that's
did
based off
recognize her. I
Forbes.
still can't.
She played Admiral Kane on Battlestar Galactica,
There. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I can see it. See,
which
I was.
Katie hates her. She looked, she'll oftentimes be in the room while I'm watching these, and she looked up and saw who it was and like growled. Like, oh, I hate her. I'm like, are you kidding? She was great in Battlestar Galactica. Like, phenomenal character. Evil as all hell, but
Yeah.
phenomenal character.
Yeah. I'm looking to. Oh, that's what I recognize her from. She was in The Killing.
Hmm.
That's her. I never watched the final seasons of that. I watched, I think, the first two seasons. They came out with a couple other ones, kind of changed scenery, changed stuff. The
Gotcha.
first two seasons were fantastic, though. I think that was an old AMC show
Gotcha.
back in like 2011. But that I recognize her from that. She was Mitch Larson in The Killing. Um, oh, she was in an episode of Lost. Um, but yeah, The Killing is where I'd say I recognize her most from.
Yeah, she's
She
done a
was
lot of
in
different things.
she was in some episodes of 24. So
Oh,
yeah, I
I
mean I've seen her in a
forgot
bunch of
about.
stuff, but
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah,
There it
so
is. Damn it.
we should just start bleeping it out. We don't bleep out the curse words. We bleep out the words we use too much.
Exactly. I'll just start splicing things in.
I love-
So, should we move on to the next episode?
You want some trivia first?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. This is the only episode where Deanna Troi does the opening log entry.
Hmm.
The number 4077 appears on one of the computer displays. So the guest star David Ogden Stiers, who played Timison, also appeared in the TV series MASH as a surgeon at the 4077th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Hmm.
Little MASH throwback there. Um, See, the episode is nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Achievement in Musical Composition for a series.
Oh, did I make a note about the music? Because one of these episodes, I thought I made a note about the music because I thought it was really good. I did not make a note about it, but
Okay. So this
I
episode,
I know I had that thought on one of these.
oh, we've got two more to go. This episode is likely inspired by the novel Pebble in the Sky by the famous sci-fi author Isaac Asimov, which depicts a future Earth in which the inhabitants are also required to end their lives at the age of 60.
Hmm.
Uh, let's see here. Although his actor is turning 60, David Ogden Stiers is only 49 years old at the time of filming.
Hmm.
And then the sociological side of the plot has a similar concept to the novel The Fixed Period, written in the 1880s by Anthony Trollope. So it's been done a couple of times.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
It didn't see, it wasn't a particularly like, it wasn't a particularly original
No,
concept overall. But
not at all.
again, there really isn't anything that is an original concept. Any original concept is just a compilation or juxtaposition of, if you will, of different
Yes.
unoriginal concepts
It
in new
is a sufficiently
combinations.
obscured combination of other concepts
Exactly.
to make it
So,
original.
yeah. But the key is, do they execute it well? And this one I thought was well executed, even if
Yep.
I gave it a seven and still didn't really love the episode. But
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Any other good trivia?
Oh, that's it. It was a pretty short one.
All right. So, in our next episode, Riker is somebody else or somebody else's Riker. Honestly, all I could really think of was the super tall guy from Men in Black in The Host. When he was talking about being just like the body just being a host for something else, I was picturing the creepy tiny little alien from Men in Black explaining to
100%.
them inside the big guy.
Totally can
Um,
see that.
but yeah. So what'd you think of this one?
I had 17 lines of notes.
Is that a lot or a little?
That's less than half of what I normally write.
Okay.
And it was not because I was particularly riveted.
I,
Um,
I was gonna say that can go two
I
ways.
said, and I am clarifying. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an episode that could be really interesting, but at the end of the day, isn't all that super interesting. The invasion of the body snatchers kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
It's a great outlet for Jonathan Frakes to play Riker as not Riker,
Hmm.
which I think he did generally pretty well. I mean, that entire cast is very talented, right?
Right.
So they can do lots of different things and, play their characters, playing other characters and that kind of thing. So I didn't necessarily have any challenges with him. I just thought the whole plot was in the episode in general was kind of boring and I didn't really hold my attention. I gave it a 6. It was fine.
Okay. So I started watching this episode and I got through, say, 39 minutes of it. I had 5 minutes left
Hmm.
and I had to come back and watch the final 5 minutes.
Hmm.
As I was watching it at first, I thought I was feeling like it was a 7, feeling it was pretty good, but I just wasn't sure.
Yep.
It was like, all right, there's like you said, not really much to complain about, but it wasn't anything. I just was kind of nothing in the episode
Okay.
a bit. It was just that. I came back and I finished the final 5 minutes, and with how awkward that final scene was,
Yeah.
it was understandable. Like, and it was kind of
Kind
like,
of
oh,
weird.
this is what they're doing. Got it.
Yeah.
And it was awkward as hell in how it went. It it just I felt like it was okay, so I went with 6. And then I tried to think through it because I was like, it wasn't bad. Had some interesting elements, interesting moments, but the best way I would sum it up and say that it was okay is that I had watched almost the entire episode and I had 5 minutes to go, and I was just like, I can get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then
No
the
big
next day I was
hours.
probably like, I can get it tomorrow. I was in no rush to finish it. And if it was even a good episode, if it was even a 7, I would have been like, all right, I got 5 minutes. I'm going to finish this.
Yep.
I got 4 minutes. I know there's credits. I'm going to finish this.
Yep.
And I was just kind of like, I can wait. And if I can wait, it's going to be okay at best.
Yep.
And I feel like that's a fair assessment of the episode. It
Yep.
had some moments. I'll say one of the highlights, underrated. Another shout out to another TV show. Abby and I'm sure we've mentioned before, big fans of The Amazing Race.
Yep.
I was a particular fan of The Amazing Race season 7, which
Okay.
was won by a team, Uchenna and Joyce. And we were watching this in college. And when they won the $1 million, my roommates and I, we felt like we had just won $1 million. It was awesome. And Joyce is an ensign in this episode, and she is in a number of Next Generation episodes. And I had been on the lookout for when she was going to show up, and
Yep.
apparently this was the episode.
This is
So
the
I was
first
like, "Oh,
one
it's
she's shown up.
Joyce." What?
Is this the first one she's shown up in?
The first one I've seen her in.
Okay.
So, yeah, she is Ensign Gates.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
yeah, so let's see. She is in a total of um let's see. She's in a total of 48 episodes.
Wow.
But yeah. So I just that made me smile because I knew she was in Next Gen, hadn't seen her yet, and
Yeah.
she was from my favorite team whenever we watched The Amazing Race, and we still watch it, but going back from one of the early seasons, that was a fun experience watching that show religiously with my roommates and Abby in college, and yeah,
This is not
so
the first episode she's been in.
oh
She started in season 3. So
oh
she was
damn.
in both Sarek and Transfigurations.
Oh, and she's been in a ton of these episodes this season.
Yeah,
So this is
you
the first
found her
one where
in
I
like
noticed.
the second to last
I'm
one
a
of
te-
the
I'm a
season.
terrible fan.
She's disappointed in you. She's in a ton
Yeah.
of season 5 and 6 and 7. I know who you're talking about. Isn't she at the helm a lot?
Yeah. Well, that's where I saw her in this one. I guess I just
Yeah.
had not noticed her in any previous ones, but
She's
yeah.
also in you have to be on the lookout. She's also in Star Trek 6,
All
which
right. And
we'll be watching
that'll
soonish.
be coming up yeah, before too long.
Or at least it says she is in her bio, but then it doesn't show up in her credits unless it's in. Oh yeah, it's
Oh, additional
additional
crew.
crew is a stand-in for,
Hmm.
but she's in Generations too. So
Well, I
oh,
guess
Star Trek.
consider me corrected. This is the first time I've noticed her, but yeah,
Yeah.
I knew she was in the series, and yeah, she jumped out right there. Other highlights from this episode that I took away. One of the ships when it flew by in space sounded like a TIE fighter. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, it was kind of weird. One, I don't see how Picard would he's not one to really force people to do or not do things,
Yeah.
but I don't see him signing off on letting his first officer risk his life for something when they could assign anybody to it or anybody
Yeah.
else could volunteer. It didn't have to be Riker and probably shouldn't have been
No,
Riker.
I think
I mean,
Riker is the
and
no matter what was the wrong.
yeah. Now let's be honest. Picard will do anything to save his crew, keep them safe, and fulfill the task. I mean, he'll even surrender the Enterprise to save the crew and fulfill the mission. But he's not going to surrender his first officer to some hypothetical test like this.
Yeah,
It didn't feel in character. It felt in character for Riker to offer.
for
But
sure.
for Picard to just be like, yeah, sounds good. That
I'll do
that
that.
just doesn't check out.
And I think one of the things that bothered me, and I'm re-looking at the script again, was that at the end they talk about putting Odan in stasis, and I was like, so why didn't they do that from the beginning? But she did mention early on that he could only survive for a couple of hours in stasis, which is kind of counter to how I understand what stasis is. Like I don't know, like, but it doesn't. I don't know. It felt like it was still going to be longer at the end of the episode before the new host was kind of there. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
talking about hours, like magically there was a new Trill host within hours, and if that was
yeah,
always the case, why weren't they always? It just didn't click much for me.
yeah.
Um, they I don't know how much we've seen stasis to this point in Star Trek, but
Not much.
it's always purported to be this thing of you can put somebody in it and they can basically survive forever, right? The
Hence
challenge
the
is,
Botany Bay.
yeah, exactly. That's an excellent example of it, right? Hundreds of
Hmm.
years that they were in suspended animation, didn't age, nothing happened to them unless the particular bay that somebody was in failed, right?
Hmm.
But why why was that not okay, but also okay at different points of the episode?
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah. It
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm almost trying to talk myself into a lower rating on it, but the performances were good. Riker, like Jonathan Frakes was he was really good
Yeah.
as always in the
Yes.
episode. The performances were good. The execution was good. It was just this is one where the story just wasn't really there. Just didn't do it for me. I could see it working for some people, but uh these first two episodes I feel like we're pretty aligned with IMDb
Yeah.
on this where
I
it
mean, we're
was
not
just
far off on either one of them,
it's
right?
one of the it we've had plenty of sixes as I'm looking at my ratings uh through this season, and I would say this is on the lower end of the sixes, but
For sure. It's borderline a five.
yeah. So I'd put it above Legacy, which I had at a five, but I'd probably put this one below, say, Cupid, which I was the Robin Hood episode I didn't love.
Which you and I
but
diverged quite a bit on that one because
greatly on that one. But
I,
or even Data's Day or the other ones I
yeah,
had, even like Final Mission, thinking back to that one.
yep,
But yeah, it was yeah, I don't know. But interesting thoughts though, because I was curious, okay, what happened to Riker and his personality while
yeah. Where
he
did
was
it go?
acting as the host? Where did that go? Does he come back and know what was going on?
Yeah,
Or is he just kind of turned off?
or is he aware even the entire time of everything that's happening, and he
Yeah,
is like a passive passenger
yeah.
um,
Or is he
on
just
the ride?
completely turned off and it's done and he's just like, oh cool, it's 4 days ago.
Yeah. So what
It's
did I do
not.
to him?
Um, but then that leads to what could potentially be an interesting point.
Uh-huh. That they
What portion of ourselves and our essence, our being, what portion of that is tied to our bodies?
yeah
And
didn't
where is
explore
the
it,
line?
and they didn't explore it
Because because there's a line somewhere.
for sure.
I don't know where that line is, but it's somewhere. You know all sorts of places where the line is not,
Yeah.
but where is it? And maybe it's not something that we can see. But at the same time, maybe it is. If I have a disfigured face, I'm still me. And I think
Yeah.
everybody would still see me
Yeah.
and not think that.
But when
But
are
if
you
I
not?
have a completely different face, is that me, even if it's still my brain, my thoughts, and everything?
Yeah.
Or where is that line? We know it's not, say, from your elbow to your hand because people lose that all the time. They're still them. They
Yeah.
look a little different, but they're still them. So it's interesting to think about those instances or those issues where there is a line. There has to be a line somewhere,
Right.
but where is it?
Huh?
And what is it? And that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I thought the most interesting thing in this episode was having those thoughts. Not even having the discussion, but having those
Yeah. Just
thoughts.
sitting there and pondering as the episode goes on.
Yeah, because I didn't want to pay attention
After,
to the episode anymore.
yeah, because there's nothing else to pay attention to.
Yeah.
One thing I thought of that I made a note of, curious your take on this. Is this effectively two bottle episodes in a row?
Yeah, I guess.
They didn't go anywhere in Half a Life.
Yeah,
They
I
just
guess.
the ship, existing sets. And same thing here. They didn't go anywhere. Like they didn't do anything. They brought people to the ship.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah. I had
makes me
not I
wonder
had not
where
even
they
thought of
were
that.
saving budget dollars from, right?
Yeah.
Um, and all the DS9 haters that say that it's on a spaceship and they don't do anything. Well, they do a lot of episodes. They're just on the
Yeah.
goddamn ship and they don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
I
screw
did
you. But
I did note that it was a Beverly Crusher personal log,
yeah,
and the previous one was a Troy
right.
personal log, wasn't it?
Yep,
Yeah,
it was.
personal log. So feel bad. I feel like I don't really care for the Beverly episodes.
I
Like I just
I
I
don't have
don't I this is
I
going to be a
understand.
controversial thing to say, but I kind of miss Pulaski.
I
Like
love
I
Pulaski.
liked Pulaski, and I just kind of I I don't care that much at this point about Crusher. And I know I probably should, but I don't find her at this point to be the most compelling character. And so then to
Yeah,
have an episode that, while you could almost say Riker, like Jonathan Frakes, Riker were kind of the star of the episode
for sure.
with the performance and being so off brand, which we've seen the perform off brand episodes before, so it's sort of off brand. But I don't know, I don't find the Crusher episodes all that compelling.
Yeah.
To the point that I feel like there have been other ones and I can't tell you what they were.
I think I think the character can be good. I
Hmm.
think oftentimes, and maybe this is just a sign of the 90s and how things were, but I think that sometimes they do her dirty. I mean, they certainly do Troy dirty on the regular. Now, Troy is generally has more interesting storylines, but yeah,
And I don't feel the same way about Troy as I do about Crusher.
sure.
Like Troy, I find to be a more compelling character, and maybe that's part of the downside of having such a strong ensemble. And this is no commentary on Gates McFadden's performances because she does great. I just don't know if she's got the greatest material to work with.
Yep.
And now they've got a generally weak episode and it's a Crusher episode. So it's kind of like
Well, that's the problem is if you don't give her material to work with, what can she do?
right. So I'm not trying to malign the performance because she does I feel pretty well with what's there. I
Yeah.
just I just
Eh,
don't see the character as fleshed out as I would have expected, knowing having an awareness of the character
right.
before starting to watch.
And I can think of scenes where I am happy with the character, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking specifically of the one where she's trying to teach Data how to dance.
Yeah.
It's just one of the funniest scenes in the entire show.
Hmm.
And it's great. Like it's well written, and Gates McFadden does a phenomenal job, and she plays off Brent Spiner really, really well. And it's
Yeah.
just like the talent is there. I just think that the character writing is trash. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because you and I are in the minority with his viewpoint, but I think the character writing for Pulaski was phenomenal. I just really like that character. Um, and
She was
it's
like House or whatever the
yeah,
crotchety old
I mean,
doctor was from Doctor Who.
yeah,
I never really watched Doctor Who that much, but whoever came after, I think David Tennant was awesome. God, I'm actually gonna know this. Peter Capaldi.
I was gonna say, is it Peter
He was
Capaldi? He's
he
about
was
the only one
awesome.
I can think of beyond David
He
Tennant.
was he was awesome. I didn't watch many of those episodes, and I've never watched it regularly. But when Abby would watch it, I saw a handful of his, and I was like, "This guy's great."
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting in that regard.
So, yeah, maybe there will be another Crusher episode that just knocks it out of the park, just and flips everything, just like how Cupid was kind of like barely a six.
Or nine, depending on how you look at it.
Oh yeah, if you look at it upside down.
Um,
So I don't really have much else to say on
I
this
don't
one
have
because
anything else to
I
say.
just don't care enough
I don't.
enough about this episode.
If I forgot this episode existed, it wouldn't do much for me. Like,
Right.
that's fine. The trivia, I mean, there's a couple of things in here if you're interested.
Sure.
So during the filming of this episode, Gates McFadden was 7 months pregnant,
Okay.
which kind of makes sense because they never really showed more than like chest up, and she always had her lab coat on and all
Yeah.
that. So, excuse me. The increased eosinophilia in the cerebral spinal fluid and elevated sedimentation rate discussed by Nurse Ogawa and Dr. Crusher when examining Oden would in fact be expected findings with a parasite in the spinal canal.
Hmm.
They got that right. Um, this episode shows that the Enterprise D barbershop also has a salon area. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is the only episode of the Next Gen where an officer on the bridge asks the computer what time it is.
Hmm.
When the shuttle is heading toward the planet, Worf states that an unidentified ship is emerging from the limb of the moon, which I caught and I was like, what the hell is a like, did somebody make that up? I've never heard of this before. Well, the limb of the moon or planet is the outer edge as seen from the viewer's perspective. So apparently that's a
Hmm.
real thing.
Okay.
When the scene opens with Beverly Crusher in the salon, as the calendar pans up from her feet so she can Oh, sorry. When the scene opens with Beverly Crusher in the salon, as the camera pans up from her feet, she can be seen soaking the digits of her right hand in a thick green liquid. This appears to be an homage to the Palmolive dish soap commercials from the 70s and 80s, where Madge, the beautician, would talk up the soap and catch the customer off guard by exclaiming, "You're soaking in it,"
Hmm.
which I have some recollection of, but
Hmm.
here, yeah. That's it. That's all the trivia. There's nothing else. That's all there is.
Okay.
Let's move on.
The last one, I'm not going to sing this, but I did have Warbirds in the Sky. Geordi flies twice as high. Didn't want to look. His brain was hooked to war with Klingons
Yes.
in the mind's eye.
Come on, sing it. Um, I love it. They're bringing back
So,
Reading Rainbow, by the way.
are they?
Yeah, not hosted by
Okay.
LeVar Burton, but they are bringing it back. I think he's going to produce, but he's not hosting.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So, I watched this episode just because of how my schedule was. It got a little broken up, so I didn't watch it straight through. But I thought this was still a really, really good episode. I
Yep.
gave it an 8. I thought it was really well developed. I thought it was a really just better than good episode. So I thought it was just really a great episode. I think the Romulans are fantastic villains
Yep.
because I haven't done a count, but I don't feel like they've been in all that many episodes
I think
of
they're referred to more than you
everything.
actually see them.
I think so, but they have not been in really all that many episodes. Over the original series, the animated series, and now this one, I, it's probably just completely speculating. I would say it's well under 20 episodes that we've seen them in or had interactions or conflict with the Romulans. Um, but they're kind of a constant threat. They're devious. They are fantastic, well for villains we don't see that often. They are incredibly well developed villains,
Yep.
and I think they are really really strong. So I like that. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting. There I go again. Just approach to how they would try to kind of just stir shit up.
Huh?
And the episode I thought was largely well executed and just a very enjoyable episode.
I agree. I wasn't quite at an 8. I really so here's the my honest answer. I forgot to rate this one until I sat down. And I was looking at it going, did I rate everything? And I had to look at my notes and see what I watched. I was like, oh, I didn't give this one a score. I don't think I hated it, 7. And that's kind of what I stuck
And that's
with.
fair. If it doesn't really stick out,
Yeah,
why?
I don't feel inclined to change it. I understand your 8. Like, and I might have given it an 8 at the time. Um,
Yeah, your rating is probably more honest or more accurate because it's
Maybe.
given
Uh,
a little time. What do you think?
it's certainly, I was going to say it's certainly more in line with IMDb, but actually you're closer. Um, 7.7. So, you overshot it, but I undershot it by more. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting story, interesting plot, kind of a cool Geordi episode, which I don't feel like
Hmm.
we see a ton of those, where he kind of gets to spread his wings. It's always interesting to see things from his perspective, especially like through the visor to kind of see
Hmm.
things as he sees them. And we just don't see that very often. There
Hmm.
were a few times throughout there where I was like, are they really gonna just completely fuck this? Because I remembered the episode but didn't remember a ton of the details. So when they had his like doppelganger, I was like, everyone's gonna know that this is not Geordi. And then realizing that, oh no, they were gonna send this person to Risa, where nobody knows him, to impersonate. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Like I'm willing to
Hmm.
be okay with that. He's not going back to the Enterprise, where everyone's gonna look at him and go, "Your hair is weird," um, that kind of thing. Um, I think, yeah, I mean the brainwashing and how they approach that and the things that they make him do, is super interesting. I think honestly, my major complaint is, um. I feel like Troy pries into his personal life too much in this episode. It's like, leave the poor man alone. I mean, she just kept going and going, going, and it's like he doesn't want to talk about it. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a fabricated story that he doesn't realize is fabricated, but it's fabricated, and leave the poor man alone. Like,
Yeah.
stop it. Now he eventually, kind of gets her back, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Solid episode.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah. I yeah, I think that really captures it. I liked in this one how they brought up just like they've done in so many of these episodes now, which I think are one of the reasons this series is better than the original series, is that there is this understanding that it's not, let me think here. The original series was obviously a serial. Every week was the same characters, but it was almost like an anthology series in that every episode was more or less standalone. All of these episodes are also a little bit standalone, but they live in a universe where the other episodes have an impact. Not everyone, not everyone comes up again, but here we had ties and comments regarding Worf's discommendation, Worf killing Duras. It's like multiple episodes have connected to this. So I think, as we've said before, that adds a depth to this series that the original series was just kind of lacking. And now maybe it's just that we're more used to that versus the original series being almost more like an anthology with the same characters.
Yep.
This one is definitely not that. And it's also not like, oh, you missed last week's, you're not going to have any idea what's going on. It's not like that. But if you missed last week's, you may miss an Easter egg in this one. And I love those Easter eggs that they have. And I'm sure there are countless ones that I've missed, but I enjoy those little things. And it's so cheap for them to get it into the episode. It's a line here, it's a word there
Absolutely.
that they've done really, really well at managing in this series. So I've very much enjoyed that.
The other thing I thought of that I get why they did it for dramatic effect, but it bugged me is when Data gets word to Worf that, hey, go get Geordi, like towards the end of the episode. And so he's climbing down the ladder to go get him. Sometimes the shortest distance between 2 points is not a straight line,
Hmm.
especially when that straight line runs through like 3 or 4 Klingons. Um, Again, dramatic effect to kind of slow him down. Otherwise, he would have just been right there and there wouldn't have been that like moment of tension. But
Hmm.
do you really like if you're trying to go detain someone as quickly as possible, do you run through a pack of people or do you take a couple of side steps to get around that
Yeah.
pack of people and then have a straight shot? And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yar would never have done that. I mean,
Uh, there's a lot of things Yar would have never done.
that's I did that
Securing a
specific.
scene, uh, effective. What was it? Yeah, Greg said she was effective, but I was just going to say she wouldn't do anything basically effectively as a security officer.
Yep. And then how disorienting would it be to like I love the end of the episode where Jordy is talking to Troy and he's like, I remember being
Hmm.
on Risa. Like I have memories of all these things that you're telling me that I don't.
Yep.
And that never happened. And like how disorienting would that be? And also that's up there, I think, with like family in terms of like actually addressing the trauma that somebody goes through afterwards. Where
Hmm.
usually it's like, well, we're done, and on the next episode, we're going to pretend like it never happened.
Hmm.
Um, it's certainly not explored as deeply as they do in Family, where it's basically an hour of it.
Hmm.
But the fact that they even had a scene where he's trying to reconcile that, and Troy's like, it's going to take a while, but I'm going to help you get there. Like
Yeah.
acknowledging the process, I thought was cool.
It was a little bit like that say Charlie X finish where it was not him screaming that he's going to this place where nobody can love and feel,
Yeah.
but just that uncomfortable that you're just sitting with this awkward
Yeah.
silence to end the episode. But I thought it was a perfect ending
Hmm.
to like that scene was just a perfect finish to the
Yep.
episode. I thought it was really, really good. Um, it's for how I feel like there's been very little really explanation given to why the Klingons and the Federation made peace and are now copacetic. They're now friends and all that. So
Aesthetic is a good way to.
seeing,
I don't know if Friends is, but copacetic, I think, describes that very well.
well, I'm thinking then you've got Worf and on the crew and friendly
Sure.
with pretty much everybody. So that's saying, okay, with Worf being the friend, not the others,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're still semi-antagonistic toward each other, though not trying to kill
Right.
necessarily. But it's it's noteworthy. I'll change my word this time to see that not all in the universe agree, and the Romulans are worse off because of the treaty or the alliance, whatever it is. So, as they're trying to figure out like who would be doing this, and it's okay, who benefits, who has the most to gain from a fight between the Federation and the Klingons. It's
Yep.
not the Federation and it's not the Klingons, but somebody benefits.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's again back to the Romulans are just a really for how little we see them, they are an incredibly well-developed villain,
Yes.
and really, really like that. Then I go, then I think I've actually seen Romulans a lot recently because we did revisit the 2009 movie and
Uh-huh.
showed that to the kids a week and a half or so
You
ago.
like it?
And then the next day, Danny wanted to watch it again. So we got about halfway through it
Nice.
and really, really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it fine when we saw it in the theater back 15, 16 years ago. But I picked up on a lot more of the nuance and little Easter eggs. And again, still sure I missed a lot, but I picked up on a lot more of those things
Yep.
this time around. And now I'm thinking the segue that got me there was that Nero's a Romulan and the Romulans are the primary villains in that movie and really are more prominent than they are in much as in anything we've watched so far.
Yeah. I love the mystery of it. Like I love the tension and the speculation it builds when you know that there's this adversary out there that is equal or better to you in terms of power, but you never see them really. You hear about
Hmm.
them and and so you build like this mystique and this mythos around them. And then they only show up once in a while, really just to reinforce what that
Hmm.
mythos is, right?
Hmm.
And then they disappear again. Um, I think that's done very, very, very well to
Yep.
not be heavy-handed and not have it be every week. I mean, I think the Borg to a certain extent are the same way too, right?
Yep. I was
You
just
know that
thinking that.
they are an overwhelming force,
Hmm.
but they're not overused in the series of
Hmm.
like, oh, here they are again this week. Like, oh,
Right.
good, them again. Yay. Like,
The way they've managed these stories is really
yeah,
expertly done.
they almost show up when you least expect them to,
Hmm.
have some massive impact, and then disappear again.
And
And
and this one and this one they had a good twist where the there's a Klingon working with them,
yeah,
trying to mess
yep,
up the alliance and trying to kick off a war, which
yep,
is again just a crazy incident, but makes for a compelling episode.
it sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
good. I enjoyed it.
yeah, and before it comes up in the trivia, obviously I did think, oh, so this is a Manchurian Candidate.
Boom. It is the third line in the
So
trip.
I had to get that out there to say I picked up on it
I
before I
didn't.
knew it was going to be in the trivia.
Mostly because I forgot about the Manchurian Candidate. Like,
Yeah.
seeing it in the trivia, I was like, oh yeah, of course it is.
And
But I
and
forgot.
my claim of that was less with the specific movie and more with just the say cultural zeitgeist understanding of
Yep.
a Manchurian Candidate.
I've never seen the movie. I hear it's
Hmm.
great. Never seen it.
I think I've seen the remake, and that's how well I remember it. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Really stuck with you.
But
Uh,
yeah, I don't have too much else on this one other than the question. So the shuttle Jordy was in,
yeah,
was that wasn't a shuttle craft, that was a shuttle pod,
it
right?
was a shuttle pod.
Okay, nailed it.
And if you order the Lego Enterprise D set on launch, you will get that Lego set for free while
Hmm.
supplies last, which is my goal.
All
So,
right.
so you ready for some trivia?
Yes.
All right. So this is the first time Majel Barrett received credit for voicing the Enterprise D computer
Hmm.
in this episode. And she's done how many of them? So many of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, So obviously, The Mind's Eye was based on the classic film The Manchurian Candidate from 1962. Established that. The mat used for the surface of Krios is a reuse of the painting originally created for Angel 1. The painting was extensively modified for this appearance. The classical music heard at the beginning is a selection from the first movement of Beethoven's Sixth Symphony.
Okay.
Let's see here. Lawrence Dobkin, who played Ambassador Kell, previously directed Charlie X. Ironic that we just talked about that.
Yeah.
The footage of the 3 Klingon warships was reused from Reunion. This is the first time where we see a phaser rifle fired.
Okay.
Let's see here. The title is derived from Hamlet Act 1, Scene 1. A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. Let's see here. This is the 3rd time in a row a personal log from another crew member other than the captain sets up the storyline. My mother is on board, it's Troi from Half-Life. Someone new in my life, Crusher from the host, and I am en route to the planet Risa, Geordi. Let's see. The second appearance of the tactical laboratory after the emissary, though it looks completely different in this episode. This is the first episode to reference the Cardassians since their introduction in The Wounded. Let's see, when Geordi visits 10 Forward after returning to the Enterprise, he orders a drink called a Red Taurian. This sounds like a reference to the popular energy drink Red Bull, especially as taurine is a key ingredient in that product. However, it would have been a very obscure reference at the time. Red Bull was created in Austria in 1987, but not introduced to the American market until 1997, some 6 years after the episode was produced. And yeah, that's about it. It's the good stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, another couple few good episodes here on average. Yeah, we've got 2 more. So next time we'll do In Theory and Redemption, and then kind of discuss season 4 as a whole.
Yeah.
And then we're on to season 5 at that point. So we're now over halfway through Next Gen.
It's crazy.
This I just added it up because I was seeing if it was something noteworthy for it to be now have her credited as the voice. And this was episode 97 of
it's crazy that it took that long.
Next Gen. Now that is counting a counter at Farpoint as 1 episode, which I think is the right way to look at it.
I conceded that point.
Yep. So with that being considered 1 episode, this was episode 97, which will put episode 100 as the first episode of season 5.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. We've watched a lot.
We have watched a lot.
There's a lot to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've hardly made a dent in this. So
yeah.
Good luck to us.
Yeah.
But
yep. So
well, there you go. Fairness in conversation, I did not actually count the number of times we said juxtapose or juxtaposition. Suffice it to say, we said it a lot. interesting. Anyway, thank you again for joining us in another discussion about my journey through Star Trek. If you're watching along with us, next week we will be watching the next 2 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, In Theory and Redemption. As always, if you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at BaldlyGoPodcast, to BaldlyGoPodcast on Facebook, and to BaldlyGoPodcast.com. You can also find me at AaronEmery.net. Nate and I have another podcast, The In Lap, in which we discuss each race weekend of the current Formula One season. You can get episodes of The In Lap wherever you get your podcasts. For Nate, this is Aaron reminding you to never give up, never surrender.
I'm a terrible fan.